Hello, folks. Happy new week, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we're starting with our rhythm of the day, of course, of course. My turn first. You're going to echo back. Ready? Ticka ticka tee tee, ticka ticka ta. My turn. To. Tee tee ta, ta. To. Ticka ticka tee tee. You've got it. Let's do it from the top, shall we? A one, a two, and ready from the top. It's ticka ticka tee tee, ticka ticka ta. To, tee tee ta, ta, to, ticka ticka tee tee. And the backwards. Ready? Here we go. It's tee tee, ticka ticka to, ta, ta, tee tee to, ta, ticka ticka tee tee, ticka ticka. Nice. Okay, let's slow it down. We're going to go a lot slower this time. Ready? And let's take the words out and let's just do the movements. So remember, for ticka ticka, we've got snaps. Tee are pats. To looks like this. And ta is claps. Ready? So we're slowing down and we're only doing movements, no speaking. One, two, and ready, here we go. It's nice. Let's do that same thing backwards. We're not speaking, just doing movements. One, two, and backwards movement, go. Nice. I like it. I like it. Let's do the same thing, but instead of going slower, let's go faster. We can do this, people. We're going faster. Ready? Not speaking anything, just doing movements. One, two, and faster, go. How'd we do? It was kind of fast, wasn't it? Let's go even a little bit faster and let's add the words back in. That kind of helps us keep that rhythm together. Ready? One, two, and faster, go. Ticka ticka tee tee, ticka ticka ta. To, tee tee ta, ta. To, ticka ticka tee tee. Woo! That was kind of fast, wasn't it? Nice work, everybody. Alrighty, third grade. We have something kind of different and fun today. We're going to talk about a story called Peter and the Wolf. And Peter and the Wolf is kind of a unique story because it's a story that's set mostly to music. Yes, there is a written story and there's a narrator that tells the story, but there's also tons of music involved with it by a Russian composer named Sergei Prokofiev. And he wrote really amazing music to this. We're going to get to the music in a second. First, I want you to understand the actual story of Peter and the Wolf. So here it is, the story. Peter is a young boy who lives with his grandfather in the forest. He goes outside to play with some of his animal friends. You're going to see there's a duck and a cat and, oh my gosh, I can't think of the other ones now. Bird and a wolf, obviously. Grandfather warns Peter not to play in the meadow alone because a wolf could come and attack him. Peter doesn't listen, and the wolf does end up coming. Everyone escapes except for the duck, who's eaten by the wolf. Sad. Peter gets a rope, and with the animal's help, is able to catch the wolf by the tail. Some hunters come, and they are ready to kill the wolf, but Peter convinces them to take the wolf to the zoo instead. So it's kind of a happy story, not so much for the duck. Duck dies, but they capture the wolf, they take him to the zoo, They don't kill him. But there you go. It's you know, kind of a fairy tale-ish sort of story. But let's talk about the music part of it. Okay? So each character in the story has their own musical motif. Okay, a motif is like a repeated musical theme that keeps coming back. So, for instance, every time Peter comes into the story, you hear Peter's theme, which sounds like this. Hopefully, this will work. This is Peter's music. You might recognize it because it's very, very, very famous. So every time we see Peter, he's represented by the string instruments, and you hear that theme. Now, this happens in lots of things, you guys. Think of movies like, I don't know, The Avengers. Whenever the Avengers all come together, there's a certain theme of music that happens, right? That represents them as a group. So this is kind of like that. A motif is a theme, a reoccurring theme. So that's Peter's theme. He's represented by the strings. Oh, by the way, well, that one's kind of easy, but we talked about instrument families a long time ago, third graders. Obviously, violin is part of the string family, and really all of the string instruments represent Peter. Here we have grandfather. Remember, grandfather was warning Peter about the wolf. But for grandfather, his instrument is the bassoon. Ooh, anybody remember what family is the bassoon from? The woodwinds. Okay, so grandfather has his own very low, bassoon is a very low, deep instrument. And let's hear his motif or his theme. Here it comes. It's very deep. Okay, he's got kind of this low, kind of stern sound, right? Because grandfather's saying the wolf might come and you probably shouldn't be outside. So it has this kind of warning feeling to it. So that's grandfather's instrument. Remember, later in the story, hunters come, and so their instrument is the timpani, which this is actually a picture of the bass drum. I couldn't find a good timpani picture, but timpani is a huge drum. Let's hear what the hunters sound like. They have a really basic big drum sound. Whoops, here it comes. Oh, come on, there it comes. Whoops, very deep sound, right? Huge drums that make that sound. So those are the three main people characters in the story. So Peter with the strings, grandfather with the deep low bassoon, and the hunters with the big drums. Okay, let's talk about the animals. Okay, here we have the poor duck. The duck ends up dying in the story, but he also has a really fun theme with the oboe. Ooh, what family is the oboe from? Remember, think about how you have to play it, right? You have to blow into the mouthpiece, the reed. That's going to be a woodwind instrument. Let's hear the duck's theme. got a nice sound to it, doesn't it? The oboe is a very smooth sounding instrument. I really like the sound of it. So the duck is the oboe. Ah, the wolf. Not super nice. He comes and eats the duck, and he's represented by the French horn. Ah, what family is the French horn from, people? From the brass. All right, let's hear the wolf. Here it comes. Hopefully. Maybe. There it is. Wow, that's a pretty cool theme. The French horn is a very powerful instrument, and you can hear there's lots of French horns playing together. Wow. And it kind of sounds like he's sneaking around, right? Like he's sneaking up on the animals trying to get them. All right, so wolf is French horn. Ah, here we have the cat. The cat's being very playful at the beginning of the story. He's also kind of sneaking up. He's trying to get to the bird. And so he's the clarinet. Notice the clarinet and the oboe look very similar, don't they? They're both part of the same family, the woodwind family. The clarinet, well, let's just listen to it and see if you can hear the difference. Here's the cat. The clarinet's a little bit deeper than the oboe, right? Yeah, the oboe for the duck was a little bit higher pitched. The cat was a little bit lower. Finally, we have the bird, and the bird is represented by the flute, which is not surprising. The flute is a very high-pitched instrument, just like a chirping bird might be a high pitch. Let's hear it. Oh, by the way, flute is part of the woodwind family, of course. All right, let's hear the bird. Oops, here it comes. Maybe. Now here it comes. Wow. First of all, that's very impressive flute playing, isn't it? Wow. But it also really, really sounds like a bird. You can absolutely imagine a bird fluttering around to that music. Okay. So you have to imagine, in most cases, like this song or this story is often performed in concert. So there'll be a narrator that will speak what's actually happening in the story, and then you'll hear the characters, like it'll talk about the bird was doing this, blah, 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 and then you'll hear the bird's music. So everything has its own theme or its own motif. Okay, so motif is a big word we're talking about here. Motif is a repeated musical theme. Okay, folks, so that's kind of the basics of Peter and the Wolf. I do have a story that hopefully next year when we're together, I'd be happy to read you the story and include the music. I didn't want to make a lesson of that because it takes a long time to do it. It's like a 30-minute story, but there, anyway, now you know what Peter and the Wolf is. It's very cool. If you wanted to go onto YouTube and just look up Peter and the Wolf, you should be able to find a performance of the whole thing if you're curious to see what the whole thing is like. Okay, so there you have it.
Alrighty, people, you know what we've got to do. We've got to get up and move. In fact, I like to move it, move it. That's the song we're going to do today. If you've ever seen Madagascar, it's kind of famous from that, but it's an older song anyway. So we're going to move it, people. Are you ready? Oh, yeah.
like to move it, move it.
I like to move it, move it.
I like to move it, move it. You like to
Move it.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like
To move it, move it.
woman you cute, I know you know. Original joker, you want it man, but woman you cute, I know you know. Original joker, you want it man, but woman physically fit, physically fit, physically, woman physically fit, physically. Woman you nice, sweet, fantastic. Bitch on the ocean, that's a big time.
This makes me want to go to Hawaii.
Find each other thing, bitch on the
Do the hula.
woman you nice, sweet, fantastic. Bitch on the ocean, that's a big time. Woman you nice, sweet, find each other thing.
Wash the windows, people. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Move it. To move it, move it. We like to move it. Grocery shopping, people. Oh, stuff for the lower shelves. Down and up. Down and up. I call this the muscle move. Robot. Move it. Let's jump. Ready? Move it. Move it. Woo! Thanks for dancing with me, everybody.
Alrighty, third graders, I hope you enjoyed your lesson today. We're focusing again on Peter and the Wolf. So as we do our conclusion, there's a Google form attached to the assignment that's all about Peter and the Wolf. It's going to ask you some questions about like which animal was represented by which instrument and what a motif is. See if you remember what that motif was. You could just backtrack in the video and that might tell you something, wink, wink. But anyway, so you're answering a few questions about Peter and the Wolf, and there you go. I hope you have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye-bye.